Hi there. Would you like to know why, after 20 years of the immense effort by US warfighters, intelligence personnel, diplomats, and aid workers to turn Afghanistan into what Westerners consider a normally functioning society, we failed? Yes, Afghanistan has reverted back to the chaotic and brutal place that it has been for centuries. This is Rebecca Koffler, was censored but not silenced. I'm a former DIA intelligence officer, and I'm here to reveal some news to you that you probably will not hear in too many places. I've written an op-ed for the New York Post this past weekend, which is titled, "The Experts Who Created Afghanistan Mess Should Be Fired for Professional Malpractice." Here it is. Check it out on New York Post. So I'll talk about three things: why we failed, could it have been avoided, and what to do next. Ready? Here we go. The Afghanistan collapse is a classic example of the Washington establishment's wrong-headed approach to foreign policy and warfighting strategy. It happens again and again and again, not only with regard to Afghanistan, but with regard to many places: Russia, China, Syria. Why does it happen? It's because these so-called experts are not experts in anything. The only thing that they know how to do well is to rotate in and out of the government through think tanks and Beltway bandit consulting firms, milking the American taxpayer and causing death and destruction. Remember, in Afghanistan, we lost $2.2 trillion of American taxpayers' hard-earned money. But what's even more devastating, we lost 6,000 lives of our fellow Americans. And I'm not even counting NATO forces or Afghani civilians. This has to stop. Why does it happen? The so-called experts do not understand a single thing about foreign strategic cultures and what constitutes a successful warfighting strategy. They have been pursuing tactical brilliance, but it doesn't compensate for strategic incompetence. They don't understand the adversary at all. And that's why they come up with these pie in the skies goals and snatch defeat out of the jaws of victory, which is what happened in Afghanistan. We actually won back in 2001 when brave soldiers like Johnny Michael Spann and his members of the Alpha Team and Green Berets were inserted behind the enemy lines. Taliban was actually toppled. But what happened next? The bureaucrats, the politicians, the so-called experts pressed on with the unachievable goals of nation building, of training and equipping the forces that have no culture in discipline or even changing oil in high-tech military equipment like Humvees. This was doomed from the very beginning. How could we have avoided it? Very simply, the Soviets did exactly the same thing back in the previous century, except they were faster learners than American bureaucrats. CIA has a treasure trove of previously highly classified documents, classified as top secret, but they're recently declassified, that contain assessments of Soviets' miscalculations. What plagued them is exactly the very same things that we have made mistakes in. Just like the Soviets, the so-called experts completely misjudged what Afghanistan was all about. That the Taliban supported insurgents, the whole national identity is wrapped up in being fighters against foreign invaders. Our experts did not anticipate how corrupt the Afghan government was and how difficult it would be to train the Afghan forces, who deserted at every opportunity when they could get more money from Taliban or when they were threatened. These are things that are not that difficult to learn about. You have all of the information. So tactical brilliance does not win wars. What do we do next? Well, first, fire General Milley, fire DIA director. They are incompetent. Providing a kill list to Taliban of Americans, green card holders, and allied Afghans is professional malpractice. Just like Joe Biden handed in to Russian President Putin a list of 16 critical infrastructure targets, handing in these lists to the Taliban is basically subjecting these people to death. Abandoning the Bagram Air Force Base is completely a misguided decision. Having such a base, a forward presence, is crucial for conducting counterterrorism operations that depend on actionable intelligence that can only come from the field. Joe Biden did not listen to his military advisors, or perhaps he was listening to General Milley, who is a Soviet-style apparatchik. The first thing that needs to happen, however, is we need to evacuate those brave Americans who were serving in Afghanistan. We need to get them out of there. Joe Biden, you have blood on your hands. Let our special forces do their job. Let Eric Prince and his contractors evacuate Americans as soon as possible. You need to act on this. Thank you for listening. If you like what you heard, subscribe to this channel. Also, please check out my book, Putin's Playbook, Russia's Secret Plan to Defeat America. This is Rebecca Koffler, censored but not silenced.